Well, it's a year next week since the earthquake that devastated Kaikoura, cutting it off from the world, stopping tourism, costing businesses their livelihoods, raising the seabed where the whale watching boats went out, and making a bustling little tourist town a very hard place to get to indeed. Things are returning to normal, and to celebrate that, people have been posting on Facebook their stories of Kaikoura after the quake. Charlie Dezen was coming to Kaikoura for her 40th birthday. Her airline tickets from Australia were a present from her family. Her mum, stepdad and brother were there, but the earthquake happened as she flew over from Oz and she was stuck in Christchurch, unable to get in. Suddenly, a man called Steve Askin came to the rescue. Steve was the helicopter pilot who later died fighting the fires in the Port Hills. He had a tiny bit of space in his chopper as he was taking supplies in. And Charlie Dezen told John Campbell he agreed to take her with him.
Yeah, and the phone call came through probably about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and yeah, we raced up there, and next thing we're on a chopper, and I'm squashed in next to a generator and some cucumbers, and off we went. It was a pretty hairy ride. There weren't actually that many choppers flying that day. It was windy and raining. It was it was amazing though. Best experience of my life, and fell in love with Steve straight away. What a bloke. He was a good man. We took off from Rangiora Airport, and we had to make a quick stop at his place via helicopter. So we sort of went up in the air, and he said, "I hope you don't mind, but I've got to stop and get my overnight bag." So we landed in a paddock just outside his place, and his kids were at the window waving at us while we waited in the chopper. And then off we went up the coast, and it was bumpy and scary and exciting all at the same time. But the relief of actually seeing my mum, Steve landed us not where all the other choppers were because there was so much air traffic at the time. We landed at the water tower up the top of the hill there on the peninsula, and it was just seeing Mum and my stepdad down there waiting for us was awesome, because I'd been stuck in Rangiora for 3 days and just worried sick. It was a relief, but the enormity of the devastation is just, Kiwis will know, but a lot of Aussies over here don't understand the scale of it and the scale of the environment in general. It's so rugged, and to see it so devastated as well. It's It was heartbreaking, and I felt bad for the people. Luckily, all my family is safe and sound. My brother did lose a lot. My mum had quite a lot of damage done in her house. The wall oven, actually, the shake was that bad that the wall oven came out of the wall and landed into the middle of the kitchen floor. And both fridge doors swung open. Everything in the fridge flew out, and then the doors flung shut again. So it sort of gave an idea of the motion of the quake, how it was rolling and changing sort of direction and things like that. So it's just unbelievable. Mother Nature's unreal.
Yeah, and after all of this, after this extraordinary experience and getting in with Steve, then how did you hear about Steve losing his life as he was fighting the fires in the Port Hills?
Oh yeah, my mum and my late auntie, she's passed away recently. They actually gave me a call, and they said, what was your pilot's name? And I said it was Steve Askin, and they showed me the photo that was in the press, and it said that he had tragically lost his life while fighting the Port Hills fires. So that's how I heard about it. So I did actually send condolences and sympathy card and whatnot to. I didn't know his family or him personally, but I did send a letter of sympathy to Way to Go Heli Services to express how sad we felt that had happened. And he was a young guy, and from what I believe, a war hero as well, from what I've read. And he's left behind a gorgeous wife and 2 kids. So it's tragic, really tragic.
And there are very few good things to be said when someone was nothing really good to be said. But what saves us is the kindness and the way people tell these stories after the fact, right? And this is a lovely story. And we're delighted you've shared it with us.
Oh, thank you very much. I was delighted that you were interested in it, to be honest. So, it's nice to share the story. You know, you can only sort of say so much on social media, but it's one of those things that will stay with me, not just the earthquake and my family going through it, but the fact that I had the ultimate just pleasure of meeting such a awesome bloke. I really, I was lucky, very lucky.
That's Charlie Dizen talking, of course, to John Campbell there.